Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, November 8th, 2017. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, the ever so lovely Miss Joanne. And before we get rolling, just for you folks out there that don't want to watch us on the big screen, grab your laptop, take the Nighthawk to bed with you, just flip up the computer, go to Facebook and type in Northwest Public Access Television, and that will get you to our show. So, in our panel this week, without the Duke, Richard Carpethwaite, and David Handy, I grabbed two guys out of the Hall of Fame. On my far right, Mr. James Fitzgerald, former mayor of St. Albans, former Solon down in Montpelier, who represented the town or city, both of St. Albans, lifelong employee of the railroad, head of security, I think. No, that was Jack Hovett.
Jack.
What was your title?
I was government affairs officer and superintendent for a while.
Yeah. And now he sits at the Elks Club on a Friday night, and the cheap bastard never buys me a beer. Now,
cable television, obviously. Right on.
Yeah.
Get away with that.
To my immediate right, a gentleman in his early youth or his early adulthood, a photographer during the Vietnam War, served in the Vietnam War. Then he came home, started his own photography business. He was the sports director for the St. Albans Messenger. Then he went on to 1420 WWSR, was the morning man and also the sports guy for the radio station.
And the talk show.
Did the comment talk show.
Love that.
And he still dabbles in his photography business, spends a lot of time at the golf course.
Still a very good one.
And he's one of the finer golfers, senior golfers at Champlain Country Club. Long time, we've known each other forever. Leonard J. Parent.
Good evening.
Guys, thank you for bailing me out. I thought I was in trouble, and you both said yes.
You may still be.
Yeah, so I'm happy. Happy to have you. So Leonard, quickly, I did not see you on the golf course today. I was out playing.
I was actually, plying my trade as a photographer. I did a lot of aerial photography this fall during the height of the foliage, and I was out selling product.
Okay.
Making money.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you when I went out it was 39.4 degrees, and there was no wind, and had a nice half round of golf today. Can't golf tomorrow. They're spraying whatever that means. I don't know.
Snowball.
Is that what it is?
Keeps the greens from burning.
Oh, okay. So
The ice forms on the greens, and the sun magnifies it and burns the greens.
Okay.
If you don't have this on it.
yeah. So, well, Leonard, I did talk to you briefly Monday, late afternoon. I was back from my trip from East Rutherford, New Jersey, and again, verbally lambasted Leonard, and he basically says, Hawk, you're an idiot. Why would you spend that kind of money for that kind of product, for the money you spent down there over the weekend? You could have went to Costco and got yourself a 40-inch TV set and still had money left over.
This guy is at home. He's a big TV sports fan, and he does not have an ultra-high-def 4K set.
I do have high def, but
No. But you don't have a 4K ultra-high-def.
I don't even know what that is.
No, you don't. But you can get a 40-incher for $299 at Costco, and it would upgrade your whole experience as a sports fan, or any type of television. Donna would love it. I'm not sure what she likes to watch on TV, but I mean, it's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
And you could have bought it and had $100 left to go sit in the rain and watch that debacle.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Debacle is right.
But I've been going down to the Giant games with my same buddy down at Shelburne forever, and it's just kind of a yearly ritual. And even though we're currently sitting at 1-7 at the midpoint during the season, still had a good time. Now, I will tell you, which maybe wasn't too much fun, well, the game wasn't great to watch, one of the all-time worst losses in Giant history, but we literally sat there from the start of the game to the end of the game in a steady, light rain. And by the time that ball game was done, it might have been 3,000 people left in the whole ballpark. Guy sitting next to us literally midway through the second quarter, the guy goes, and I thought he was kidding. I've seen enough of this crap. I'm out of here. Huh, what? It says, I got a lot better things to do than watch this football. And 7.5 minutes into the second quarter, he was gone. And halftime, yeah, a ton of people left, and as the second half wore on, it just trickled down. And we waited till the end. It's not like I'm down there every week. And like I said, maybe a few thousand left. Walked out of the ballpark, and it was like nobody. Usually it takes forever to get out of a ballpark. Walk right out. Got to our vehicle, minutes. Where it usually takes like 90 minutes to get out of the parking lot, minutes to get out of there. And my friend who I went with, he is flying out to San Francisco Thursday to spend a long weekend to go see our beloved Giants.
Well, at least it's a nice city.
Yeah, so
You'll see something at
I've
least.
been there many times to San Francisco. My daughter lived in Berkeley 5 years, and so I went every Christmas to San Francisco for 5 years. That was a great time.
what was she doing out in Berkeley?
Teaching.
Oh,
They taught 5 years in New York City, taught 5 years in Berkeley, and now they're in Germany. They've been there 7, 8 years. They're still teaching. They're on an army base there teaching.
Wow.
That
So
ought to be a circus.
what's that?
49ers and Giants.
Well, the Giants opened up yesterday, favored by 1. They jumped up to 2.5 today. Now the Giants, and I know Leonard's going to jump into this head first. Reading today, and that was kind of like the in thing on the internet today, was the Giants players have quit on Ben McAdoo, and an anonymous player spoke to ESPN and just long diatribe of what's wrong with the Giants. He runs us into the ground on Saturdays, suspends players, fines players. The players have no respect for him anymore, and they're just gone for the year. Now, Leonard, I will give you some kudos. You told me maybe week 3, this is it for McAdoo. This is it for GM Jerry
they're
Reese.
gone. They're gone.
And I,
Excuse me.
but you're right. But you have a theory of.
Well, I'd just like to spend maybe 2-3 minutes here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is some writer named Albert Breer, and this is dated September 27th. And he says, I'm going to say something here that might be, or I should say might not be very popular. Giants owner John Mara and
Len,
GM...
can I interrupt you? We have a phone call.
Oh, sure.
Good evening. Get that bat off your shoulder and get the mud out of your cleats, because you're the first up tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Go ahead. Hello?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. We've got a pretty good-looking cast here.
Well, thank you. I put a little rouge on tonight.
The Rams have appeared.
Yeah.
Oh, colorful.
Oh,
Anyway.
I thought that must have been it. Okay.
So what's on your mind?
Well, I was just listening to Nighthawk about his football game. I happen to be a Ram fan. And, you know, when the players, and we've been in the cellar for 15 years, since 99, and when the players started taking a knee this year during the national anthem, I withdrew from football. I haven't watched a football game since game 2. And, you know, it's just kind of ironic. After 15 years of losing, the Rams put together a good team. And really, I'm not even rooting for them.
A better team, not a good team, a better team. I wouldn't get too excited about scoring over 50 points against the Giants. Well, you beat the Giants. You can't use that as a yardstick against anything. But they're good. They got a good running back.
No, they didn't beat them. They buried them.
Well,
But they're
right.
6-2 this year. They've beat some good teams.
If you go to Calvary Cemetery tomorrow, they'll probably bury somebody there too. But it's not going to put up much of a fight. That's my point.
I think they are improved.
Oh, they're improved. Yeah.
You know what you're seeing there? About a year ago, we talked a little bit, Nighthawk. I'm going to give you a couple jabs here. The Goff and Wentz went number 1 and 2, and geez, who are these guys? Wasting a draft pick on these guys. And I remember telling you the league's are so short of good quarterbacks, you have to take a chance. Yeah. You've got to take a chance. They were probably the best in college. It doesn't always equate to being the best in the NFL, but with a lack of quarterbacks, you've got to gamble. And as we speak tonight, they're the number 4 and 8 seeded quarterbacks in pro football. So
well,
it seems like it did pay off.
As we sit here tonight, caller, if we were taking the MVP vote, hands down, it's Carson Wentz. There's no doubt in my mind.
Absolutely.
If he continues, he will get the MVP, but at the halfway point, he's definitely it. He's an old school type quarterback. I love this guy. And Jared Goff just did not have a good training camp last year.
Nope.
Jeff Fisher, then coach of the Rams, sat him for 10 games. And he came in, didn't really show all that much, but the guy must have kept his nose in the playbook. Goff has looked very well this year, and kudos to him.
He looks
good.
He
looks good, and Todd Gurley is a terrific running back. No, the Rams are 6-2, and they should be 7-1. When they played Seattle about a month ago, Goff threw to the receiver, the white kid. I hate to call him as a white kid. Who's the white receiver on the Rams?
I don't know.
But I forget his name. He's a rookie this year. I said, I haven't watched any football.
He threw it about right in his hands, but it was about 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he dropped it with about 20 seconds left in the game. In the irony, too, caller, you mentioned about not watching football, which a lot of people have done this year. I've had enough. Before the Giant game, it was terrific. It was Military Service Day for all 5 branches. Were represented out in the field before the game, and they all played, I don't know if you call it their theme song or, like Acres Away and all that stuff, and they put on a fantastic presentation. So I'm standing there with my friend, and I said, there better not be one person taking a knee. I'm jumping over the wall, and I'll take care of it myself. Every player stood during the national anthem, and they took one of those giant flags that covers the whole field. So it was a rarely moving pre-game ceremony.
Well, you might have seen the ads that the NFLPA are putting out on TV. They've got NFL players now thanking the veterans because they got a big PR problem.
Well,
oh, terrible.
But getting back to the point of drafting quarterbacks, the owner of the Giants, or the co-owner, John Mara, put out a directive about 7 weeks ago, according to ESPN, that his scouts are scouting all the top quarterbacks in the country right now. The Giants, I can't see them drafting any lower. 5 is the worst they're going to draft. They could draft 1, 2, 3. I'd say 3 is probably where they're going to draft, and they could be number 1. Who knows? It's possible. And they're going to draft a quarterback number 1, a franchise quarterback. You can't trust their 3rd-round draft choice last year, Webb. You know nothing about him.
Right.
Well, if you got a top 5 pick, you go after a quarterback. And Manning, quite frankly, his career is spiraling down, as it should for somebody that age.
Let me say this, and I'll let the
go ahead. I think what you need is to start with an offensive line, Lenny. You can draft all the quarterbacks you want, but not many of them can throw on the run.
I start with a quarterback, and then we'll get a line. I agree with you.
I'd rather draft the best athlete, period.
No, you've got a good quarterback right there. He just has no protection, and you have no running back.
He is, according to a poll taken by NFL pundits that was published about a month ago, Eli Manning is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL right now. And even though we won 2 Super Bowls with him and he was the MVP, quite frankly, we could have lost those Super Bowls just as easily as we could have won them. We were very lucky to win them. And quite frankly, the guy, for instance, doesn't know how to throw a 5-yard touch pass.
Leonard, I cannot disagree with you
Can't
more.
do it. I think he's overrated.
You're hard on him. He's
overrated. He's overrated.
You're blaming your quarterback for all your problems, and he's the most talented one on your team.
No, I'm not saying he's all our problems. I'm just saying he's overrated. That's all.
Now, you guys went out and spent all that money on your defense, and your defense is your problem.
Leonard, let me tell you
Manning has been playing behind the 8 ball the whole season.
Right. Well, Manning's on his way out.
If Eli Manning okay, switched positions with Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. Manning was behind the Cowboy offensive line, unarguably the best line in all of football. You would see a much better Eli Manning.
Yeah,
Where
much better.
would be down. I'm with the caller on this. I don't care if Johnny Unitas came back from the grave. He would not perform behind that Giants line.
He doesn't have the arm. I watched the Lions and the Packers Monday night. He's the highest paid player in the NFL.
Matt Stafford is.
The man has, what a cannon.
Yep.
Manning could never throw those out.
Okay, let me say
like
this
that.
about Eli Manning.
Couldn't do
He's
it.
a good one.
Eli Manning was the 7th player in NFL history Sunday to surpass 50,000 yards. Eli Manning not only won 2 Super Bowls, he was the MVP of both Super Bowls. This guy will be in the Canton Hall of
I
Fame.
wouldn't bet on it.
No.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I disagree with you.
I don't. I'm not saying it won't happen.
And I will say this.
I don't
with the
think
Giants.
it's a positive.
The Giants could get something for him in the offseason. Jacksonville's the obvious
They'd have
spot
to eat a lot of salary.
to go down to with Tom Coughlin down in Jacksonville because Jacksonville's got a top-notch defense. They're winning games with Blake Bortles. So, no, I will agree with you. Davis Webb, we picked in the 3rd round.
I'm not trusting him.
Out of California. We know nothing
No,
about him, so I can't say anything.
If we got a top 5 pick, you go after one of the top
Well,
quarterbacks.
right now, we're picking 3rd, and the guy
don't
we
know.
What
would
is another quarterback going to do for you?
Well, no, it's a rebuilding now, but it's going to take 5 years.
Right, it's
It's
going
going to take 5 years.
Yeah.
You build the lines, then you put the quarterback, and
You
you're
take
going to
if
kill
you-
a new quarterback
If you
with that
get a
line.
franchise quarterback, you take him first.
But Leonard,
That's my opinion.
if we rebuild that offensive line, Eli Manning is still the top 3rd quarterback.
Totally disagree. He's the pundits in the NFL, most overrated quarterback in the league.
Leonard,
Most overrated.
Who's he throwing to every week? Travis King? Travis Rudolph? Roger Lewis Jr.? Are you kidding me?
He threw to Odell Beckham. What did Odell do? He dropped a lot of the big catches.
All right, Evan Ingram
Yeah.
could be Rookie of the
He
Year.
doesn't have the arm. He doesn't have the soft touch. He can't throw that little flare in the flat. He throws it so hard, receivers miss it. He can't throw the out pass to the sideline. Doesn't have enough strength.
Leonard, he's throwing on his heels.
Oh, whatever.
He's got.
We agree. We agree to disagree. Caller, we'll let you go ahead. Go on.
Look straight ahead, Len.
Oh,
No, we'll go to Fitzy and the Red Sox jacket there. So Fitzy, what do you think we'll do for free agents? Who are you hoping for? Or are we going to set still, or are we going to go out and get a J.D. Martinez? Or
I'd love to. You really need a boomer in the middle of that lineup, which they dearly missed. Anybody knows that.
We already know who's playing first base for Boston next year.
Yeah, we do.
Eric Hosmer.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
Yeah. Now, J.D. Martinez, Fitzy and Collar.
That's one of the.
He signed Scott Boras as his agent last week. Boras today said he expects $200 million for J.D. Martinez.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that boy can hit.
He hit 49 home runs in 119
Detroit
games.
let him out.
Yeah.
How silly.
But I think Hosmer's a slam dunk for the Red Sox.
Now, they need a boomer in the middle of that lineup, and I've always been a power type guy. You know.
Yeah,
that.
I know that. Yep.
You can take and the guy on the other end here wins our little baseball league every year with averages. He's an average man. I understand that, and he's been very successful at it. I like, we were talking about the ball maybe being juiced up at this time. And what a horrible thing that is. Not horrible at all. That's what people pay big money for tickets. I don't want to see that guy hit a little Punch and Judy stuff over the second baseman's head. They don't pay for that. They pay for a guy to boom it out of there. And that doesn't always do the trick insofar as winning. But I think the Red Sox need that. I'm not so confident about the shortstop. I don't know what happened to him this past year. I hope that's not something that's going to hang around.
A lot of guys on the Red Sox.
yeah, he appeared to take a giant step backwards this year, didn't he, Fitz?
Yeah, he did, and I'm not sure it's permanent. In fact, I hope it isn't. It may not be. He had some injuries, But he did take a giant step. His home runs are down, what, 15? 18?
Yeah.
Yeah, if that. I think our problem, like I do agree with you, this year, no power. You know, we need 3 hits for a run. And, you know, we hit the singles, a few doubles here, but we certainly lack the power to finish a game off. So I would like to see a Hosmer there at first. He's Golden Glove winner.
Yes,
always
absolutely.
a steady ball player, 25 home runs, bats 300.
Yeah.
And, you know, we need another person like him as well to mix in that lineup. I mean, we hit okay, but we're just we didn't have the comeback team this year that we've had in the past.
That's
like
right.
you said, you know, we had a very hard time ending the game with one swing. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a couple Christmas presents as well.
Now,
as far as their pitching, David Price, who I'm not a big fan of, but when he did come back at the end of the year, he appeared to have some of his old magic back. He was, you know, he was pitching well. He looked like the David Price of old. So I'm hoping with Sale and Pomerantz and maybe a healthy David Price, that'll give us a 1-2-3 start in our rotation anyways. I mean, Erod will be out until May, I believe.
Yes.
And as far as the 5th spot, I think that will probably be up for grabs. So,
I think
yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think Stephen Wright, who was injured most of last year, will get number 5. And Porcello, all you can hope for is somewhere in between 2 years ago with Cy Young in this past season.
Yeah.
So give me something in between, ERA just under 4.
That'll be fine.
But the best number about Eric Hosmer, he's only 28 years old.
I know.
So he's probably going to sign a 7-year contract. So, yeah, he can play till he's 35.
And caller, what are we going to do when Farrell ends up in New York?
Right. He's got the body and the conditioning. I mean, I followed this kid since he was in Omaha with the minor leagues, and he has been very consistent, getting a little better every year. He, you know, never has a terrible year. And like I said, he's Golden Glove this year, and he's always a candidate every year. And, you know, that would fit very well for a long time on our team. Now, they talked a little bit about Hanley Ramirez, too. I read a little bit with him today. He had a shoulder operation, and they talked about him being healthy to play first base this coming year, which I hope was just a smokescreen.
Yeah. So, caller, I'd like to segue to this real quick and keep you on board so you can vote. There'll be 4 of us voting. These are for postseason awards, and we have the nominees. And I'd like you to vote first, and then the Nighthawk, myself, and then Fitzy. No debate, just curious how we feel. AL Rookie of the Year. We've got Benintendi from the Red Sox, Judge from the Yankees, Mancini from the Orioles. So you go first, caller. Who do you vote for?
Well, I'm going to have to go for the big, strong Yankee kid. I mean, he did put up some very big numbers. I love Benintendi.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
We're just we don't no comments. We just want to vote and move on because we'll be here all night.
Right, Leonard. This unanimous. Aaron Judge.
Judge. Yeah.
Okay. Next.
NL Rookie of the Year: Cody Bellinger, Dodgers; Josh Bell of the Pirates; Paul DeJong of the Cardinals.
Bellinger.
I like Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger, 35 home runs.
I concur. Manager of the Year in the National League: Bud Black of the Rockies; Torey Lovullo, Diamondbacks; Dave Roberts, Dodgers.
Roberts.
Lovullo.
Bud Black, Rockies.
Yeah.
My vote.
Yeah, one quick remark. Fitzy, you vote for Dave Roberts, who I like, but the freaking guy's got a payroll of $245 million.
Well, we're not commenting. We're just voting.
Oh, I lost my mic.
We're just voting. AL Manager of the Year: A.J. Hinch, Astros; Terry Francona, Indians; Paul Molitor, Twins. Caller?
I like Paul Molitor.
Okay.
My vote goes to Molitor.
Mine too.
Hinch.
Okay.
Hinch.
Cy Young Award.
Hard to vote against Hinch.
Cy Young Award, American League. Severino, Yankees; Sale, Red Sox; Kluber, Indians. Very interesting. I think this is a very interesting.
Go ahead, caller.
Kluber.
Kluber, he won the ERA title by a half a run. This is a no-doubter.
I concur with Kluber.
Kluber.
Yep.
National League Cy Young, Kershaw, Dodgers, Scherzer, Nationals, Strasburg, Nationals. Caller?
Kershaw.
Flip a coin on this one. As much as I love Kershaw, he was injured for a portion of the season. Yep. So Scherzer pitched a lot more innings, and his ERA was only about 0.2 or 0.15 higher than Kershaw. Kershaw's a better pitcher, but for this season, I'd give it to Scherzer.
Sale.
Sale was the American League.
Oh, that's right.
We've already voted.
That's
Kluber,
right.
you went with Kluber.
Yes.
Okay. National League, I'm going to go with Scherzer as well.
That's fine.
I watched him pitch more than Kershaw, and as Kershaw says himself, maybe one day I'll be able to get it done in the postseason. Until he does, but he's a great pitcher, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
NL MVP, Goldschmidt, Diamondbacks, Stanton, Marlins, Votto, Reds. Caller?
Probably Goldsmith.
I'm going Paul Goldschmidt, first baseman of the D-backs.
Stanton.
I'm going to go with Votto. AL MVP, Altuve, Astros, Judge, Yankees, Ramirez, Indians. Caller?
Who was your first candidate?
Altuve, Astros, Judge, Yankees, Ramirez, Indians. This is AL MVP.
Yeah, I'm going with Altuve.
I have to make a comment. Astros have a lot of really good players. Okay, I think Altuve finished with 81 RBIs. Judge had 132 RBIs. You can't dismiss 51 RBI difference. So I love Altuve, great all-around player, but I have to give the MVP to Judge.
Altuve.
Okay.
So there we go. That's that.
Good one.
Yeah.
Anything else, caller?
One last thing for you, Nighthawk. I see today where Jason Worth has expired as far as his contract with the Nationals. Do you think he will be playing this year, or do you think there's still a little bit of gas left in the tank, or what do you think the future will hold for him?
Well,
and I will let you guys go at this.
Thank
Good
you.
night, and great show, fellas.
Thank you. Let me say this about
See ya.
Jason Worth. Has absolutely gorgeous hair and a good-looking beard.
Ought to have it cut.
Okay. However, he used to be a really good fielder. He's 37 years old as of today. He got $126 million from the Nats for 7 years. A few of those years he was injured. I would not pick him up. No. Nobody. No. So, Leonard, you were talking about the Giants.
They're right. See, there's this writer, and there's others, who feel the real problem with the New York Giants is Odell Beckham. He's a cancer. And you could even go back as far, you could almost make a correlation that Coughlin got fired because of Beckham. You remember Beckham did that head-first headbutt there?
Yes.
And Coughlin says, why didn't you pull him?
Yep.
Coughlin says, I didn't see the play.
Yep.
Here's Coughlin, who is a stickler for detail, and tell me he didn't see the play. Okay? So, and then you've got McAdoo, who is suspending cornerbacks left and right, and you got Odell, who does his dog urination stunt in the end zone. Nothing happened. He got fined. Yep. But, they're saying there's a double standard. Odell Beckham, he's still the darling of Madison Avenue in commercials. Why? I don't know.
Good question.
I wouldn't want my kid to be like that guy.
Of course not.
And I would stake my life on this. He will play for the Giants part of
Leonard.
next year.
Never mind
the
impact it has of the kids of this nation. It's this.
Right, but
the God Almighty dollar.
The Giants will never sign him to a long-term deal. He's gone.
I hope they do, because I'm not a Giant fan.
Now, let me say this. Leonard and I disagree more than we agree on things. However, I will agree with him there. His contract next year is only for $6.5 million. Right. You have to keep him because he's going to be wanting, after next season, $20 million a year. Now, I wear my Beckham jersey because it was clean and because I have to get some wears out of it. Yeah. But he's a cancer to that team. Give him one more year, then let him go in his free agency.
Well, or else maybe if he's having a good year, you might find a team that'll take him, give us maybe a number 2 pick in the second round.
Can I ask you a question, Leonard? When we get a new head coach for next year, will he be smart enough to know that Beckham is a cancer on this team.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe we trade him and get a good draft pick for him.
Oh, I'm just saying, if he has a good season next year, halfway through it, you might move him, and you might get a pick for him, and whoever signs him might lock him up right off. You know, that's the kind of thing that would have to happen. Yep. But he is just one of the most hated football players I've ever seen come along in the NFL.
Right.
Other players from other teams, even his own, they hate him. When they try to tackle him, they try to end his career. The man is a marked man. And Madison Avenue still loves him. I don't get it.
I would never
get
have
it.
him as the spokesman for my company.
Oh, not at all.
No.
I don't think the NFL should have a commissioner. If he's going to behave and handle his job the way this guy's been doing it, this is a terrible influence on the kids of this nation.
Well, Jerry
Why
Jones,
is this tolerated?
who's the most powerful owner in football, does not want Goodell back. So I like Goodell in the beginning. He's a very weak leader of the NFL. He's got to go.
That's been demonstrated.
His tepid response on this taking a knee, I mean, he should have from day one, you stand up or
go home.
you're out of the league.
You know when the Giants really started to go downhill is when Beckham took the receivers down on the boat before the playoff game last year.
Yes.
That's when the Giants, it was over. It was over. There was the double standard. Can you imagine somebody on the Patriots with Belichick doing that? Even Coughlin, had he been the coach, there'd have been hell to pay.
During that game against Green Bay last year, and my short-term memory is horrible, but I do remember the game. He dropped a touchdown pass.
Oh, yeah.
It was right there, little, maybe 3 inches, but it should have been caught by a professional. Then the following series, they were getting inside the red zone. It was a 3rd and 8, and Eli gave him right to him, right between his numbers, and dropped it. But I would say, and I watch sports every night of the week, my most disliked player in all the sports is easily Odell Beckham.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard to cheer for him.
Yeah, I can't remember a player who has come along who is so talented that has alienated so many people.
And ruined his career.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, somebody will pay him. Somebody will pay him some money. Because he is a very talented receiver. No question about that. And but he's a cancer. I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him on my team. I wouldn't want him as being a spokesperson for anything that I say.
Absolutely
Now,
not.
Leonard, we go to Levi Stadium on Sunday. By the way, that's not on TV.
Oh, it isn't?
It is not. So I have to go to my son-in-law's and watch it on the...
Or 84 Maine has it.
Yep. But if we lose to the Niners, okay...
Which I hope we do.
And C.J. Beathard is their quarterback. I'm hoping for Jimmy Garoppolo to play, but it's pretty tough to have a guy who's only been there for a week and a half.
You don't think you'll see any action this week?
Maybe second half, but why throw him out there and put him in position to fail? Let him learn the playbook first.
Tell me, what was the motive of trading him?
Because Tom Brady's still the best quarterback in football. Why would you want a backup?
You don't want to pay him
You've
that
done
kind
it
of
so
money.
many years now. What's another year or two?
Now, they got a second-round pick. It'll be 33 or 34 overall. It was a great trade for both teams. So Tom Brady says he can go until he's 45 years old. This guy keeps it.
Maybe
he watches what he eats. He trains. This guy is the GOAT, greatest of all time. I've always said Jim Brown was the greatest football player of all time. He's now number 2 in my book. Tom Brady is number 1. And, Tom Brady deserves whatever he asked for because, the resume this guy
we could loan you Bridgewater. We're bringing him back.
Well, quickly on that, you being a Viking fan, Sam Bradford went under the knife today on his knee. They scoped it out. So he's gone for the year.
Right.
More than likely will never don a Viking jersey again. He will be a free agent next year. So maybe you do keep Teddy Bridgewater around for next year to try to...
Terrible
But
injury.
Sam Bradford, believe it or not, Leonard, he's 30 years old. I think it was his birthday today.
Yes.
Number 1 overall pick by the Rams 7 years ago.
Yep.
He was the last player to sign for whatever the Rams offered because now they're slotted. You get picked, and this is what you're going to get.
Right.
And the NFL players were complaining. These guys, they've never played before. We're playing under a salary cap, And if this kid coming out of college doesn't even shave and he's getting this much money, doesn't leave anything for us. Well, the Players Association agreed, let's start slotting these positions. But Sam Bradford, back in 7, 8 years ago, his signing bonus, guaranteed bonus, was $54 million.
Right.
And when he played with the Rams, injured every year, goes to the Vikings.
And the Eagles.
Eagles first, but he's a good player when we do see him play.
Oh, yeah.
But he's injured all the time.
That's the problem.
But Len, if Eli is gone, Sam Bradford could be a bridge type quarterback.
I don't care. The Giants are going to have to rebuild now. They're going to have to rebuild, and they still have a good defense. They've just quit. And Sunday's game with the 49ers has nothing to do with the 49ers, whether that game is won or lost. It's all about the Giants. It's whether they're going to show up.
Well, let me ask you this.
They didn't show up Sunday.
Right. If we lose to the 49ers,
which I fully expect.
you give the axe to McAdoo
Not the
Monday
right
morning?
Not right off. No. What would that accomplish?
Because if it is true, what we're reading, that the players have quit on McAdoo, they hate him, they won't play for him, then why wait till January?
I don't think it's just McAdoo. I just think they're so upset with this season in general. They're getting paid.
But Leonard,
I don't think that a lot of them just don't care. Collins went from almost the NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
I agree.
And he's an also-ran this year.
Yep.
They're just not. They're not trying.
Okay.
The Giants have a pretty good defense still. I tell you what.
they have the personnel, but they haven't played well this year.
No, they haven't. They haven't. And there's a reason.
They got people.
Offensively, they're lacking. Obviously.
Yeah. I'll tell you, and I hate saying anything nice about Jerry Reese. And again, I screamed at the TV when they drafted Evan Ingram. Okay, but this guy, at this time next year, when I say Fitz, who's the best tight end in football, you're going to be uttering Evan Ingram. He is that good. This guy's a beast.
That won't save Reese's job.
No, in their second-round pick, Devin Tomlinson, the tackle that plays next to Snacks Harrison, this kid is a very good.
But I was reading, it's not all Reese when it comes to the draft. There's a lot of other people involved with the draft. It's not just Reese. He's not the guy who makes the final decision.
Oh, no. Mark Cross is the director of scouting on that team.
The ownership owes it to the fans. You have to, I don't care, they have to cut them. They have to sever ties.
But Len, the problem with the Giants' offensive line, as bad as it is,
it's not as bad
Justin
as...
Pugh, who's their best lineman, is a free agent after the season. If he's sick of this circus, he's gone, he will get his money. Our center, who was out for the year, Weston Richburg, who was a second-round pick out of Colorado State 4 years ago, he's a free agent. If we lose those two guys, I mean, we got nothing.
Yeah, well, it's called rebuilding. We have to do it. Okay. We're going to pay the price for a lot of the foolishness.
You guys have been rebuilding for 10 years.
No. We won a Super Bowl when?
What, 6 years ago, maybe?
6 years ago.
No, you haven't been, where have you
we
been
won two
since,
Super Bowls
Leonard?
in how many years?
You guys keep rebuilding.
Right. I'm like you, Leonard.
Well, a lot of football.
I'm a big picture kind of guy.
Yeah.
Okay, as my time to hit the graveyard comes closer and closer, I look up in the sky and say, hey, God, you gave me 4 Super Bowls in my lifetime. That was more than my fair share.
More than I've had.
Right.
I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
My hockey team, the Blackhawks, 3 Stanley Cups in 6 or 7 years.
They're going to win another one.
No. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying they will.
Well, not this year.
No, but soon.
Well, their big stars are getting old, and they're not as hungry. You win 3 Stanley Cups, my friend. You got 3 rings. And hockey is a type of a game, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah. You cannot be hungry. If you're not hungry, you don't win.
You don't. Period.
Right. And the Blackhawks, I don't care. A lot of those players got 3 rings, and they're getting older. It's just human nature. You don't have that fire.
I know they're rebuilding, but I think in the near future.
I don't.
I do. I really think. I'm not a.
I don't. They got so many young guys right now. They're just learning to play with each other.
But the problem with the Blackhawks is, of course, they play with a salary cap, which I agree with. But they're paying Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane 2 of the highest salaries, and there's very little left to go around. The Hawks seem like every year they have to trade players that they do not want to trade.
Well, you have to.
Right, to meet the salary
And Keith
cap.
and Seabrook, who've been two of the best defensemen in the NHL, and this two of the best that, have paired together in a long, long time. They're getting older.
Yep.
And they got 3 rings.
Yeah.
I mean, how hungry? I mean, it's going to be some young team who's like St. Louis, for instance.
St. Louis
They're
is bouncing
hungry.
back. Yeah,
they're
they are.
hungry and they're good.
Yeah.
And
Tampa missed a golden opportunity, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And they're in that same kind of boat. I thought they'd win a couple of years ago.
Now, my Habs played the Blackhawks the other night, and
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
First win since when?
1993.
2002. 2002.
2002.
First time they've beat Chicago in Chicago
Yeah.
since 2002.
We brought up Carey Price, who's been a sieve. I mean, the best goalie in the world. He's now getting $10.5 million a season for the next 8 years. And he looked horrible, and he finally went on the IR or whatever. Lower body injury, I think it's a knee. They brought Charlie Lindgren up from Lavelle, and the kid's been phenomenal. But the
Lindgren's
Blackhawks,
going to be
they
good.
they have one of the most underrated players. Corey Crawford, their goaltender.
Oh, he's underrated.
Is very good. He might be the most underrated player in the NHL.
Goalie.
Let me say this.
Anyway.
Just overall, I think the Hawks might be learning you don't need to win the Western Conference.
Right.
Let's just make the playoffs, maybe take
Right
some
now,
nights
they
off.
would not.
Right. The Hawks right
Right.
now are 10th in the Western Conference. The Canadians are 13th in the East, and Bruin fans out there, the 12th. But Canadians have been playing really good hockey of
Oh, it's
late.
so early in the NHL. You can't really.
But the thing is, Leonard, you can't win the Stanley Cup in October, but you sure as heck can lose it.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
The Hawks have so many new faces. They're just learning to play with each other.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
So what time do we have? Just so we know where we're
Oh,
at.
it's about 17 of 9. Still half a show to go. Let's talk a little baseball right now. Major League free agents. Okay, now I guess...
Oh, you're sending Farrell to New York?
This is your area of expertise. I don't follow
I
this
think,
much.
correct me if I'm wrong, Fitzy, you can sign. I think free agency opened up this week.
Yes.
Okay. Let me get my glasses here. The top free agents, Yu Darvish, and this is where they're predicted to land. Yu Darvish was horrible for the Dodgers during the playoffs.
Kind of like his teammate a little bit, Kershaw.
Darvish to the Cards. Number 2, and you might know more about this guy from Japan, Shuhei Otani.
Oh, he's supposed to be.
He's supposed to be going to the Yankees.
He's a crackerjack.
They say
supposedly.
he's the guy they can hit and pitch, right?
They say he's the Babe Ruth of Japan.
Right. He
That's a different class of baseball.
Oh, well,
I'm sorry.
okay, Fitzy, the best way to describe Japanese baseball, here, the top minor league is AAA. And I've heard this. I didn't make this up. Wish I did. But Japan baseball is like quadruple A, 4A baseball.
I don't think
But
so.
there are
I don't
some
think they're that
players.
good.
But there are some players that play in Japan, and who have played in Japan, and there's one in particular. You know who I mean? Is Ichiro.
Ichiro.
is one of the best ball players I've ever seen.
No question, but I don't think he's going to play this year. I don't think he's going to get
He's
a contract.
44 years
Well,
old.
oh, he may
He may
not.
not get a contract.
Oh, he may not. But I'm just saying, he's one of the best ball players I've ever seen.
He's a good, solid ball player wherever you're talking
Oh,
about.
absolutely.
But
Hall of
he is
Famer,
44.
No question.
Oh, yeah.
If he wants to play for $1 million, which he may not, he can get a job as pinch hitter, fifth outfielder. Number 3, the aforementioned, we talked earlier in the show, J.D. Martinez will stay with the D-backs. The guy I would like, but I think he's going to get a ton of money, Jake Arrieta, and they've got him going to the Angels. Number 5 from the Rays, they've got him going to the Twins for whatever reason. I'm not sure where they're going to get the money. Eric Hosmer, 6 to the Red Sox. Wade Davis, closer for the Cubs, staying with the Cubs. Greg Holland, closer for the Rockies, staying with the Rockies. Lance Lynn from the Cards going to the Cubs. And number 10, Lorenzo Cain from the Royals going to the Mariners.
Yeah.
It's not a great free agent market. It's next year when you
Do you
got
think Martinez is going to stay where he is?
J.D. Martinez. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't.
I do.
I think you're going back to the American League.
Well, he said he loved it playing in Arizona. So
He does, yeah.
yeah. Now, Leonard, your Atlanta Braves. Of course,
Rebuilding, we are.
Leonard and I are he's the only National League guy I know. Okay, everybody
Right.
see either
You're a
Red
National
Sox.
League guy.
I am.
Right, but there aren't many of us.
So
Everybody
Leonard and
around
I
here is
are the only two guys can talk National League baseball. Of course, Leonard's been a lifelong Braves fan
1957.
since '57. But the Atlanta Braves, I thought, underperformed this past season. So I'm doing research on them, knowing Leonard's going to be on the show tonight. Runs per game, 4.5, 21st in the majors. Home runs, 165, 28th in the majors. Starters ERA, 4.80, 22nd in the majors. Bullpen, 4.58, 26. Defensive runs saved, minus 23, 23rd in the majors. Payroll, 123, 19th in the majors. These are not good stats. I know you keep telling me we're rebuilding.
Well, we just started the rebuild.
But your young pitchers, really,
These weren't the good ones.
they're not the good
These
ones.
weren't
Are
the good ones.
Gwinnett.
These weren't the good ones. These weren't the good
Okay.
ones. These were pitchers they got in trades. These weren't the pitchers they've signed. These weren't these high school kids they've signed. The pitchers like Whistler and I'm trying to think Blair. These are guys they got in trades.
Yep.
And they're they'll pitch somewhere.
Is
You
Whistler a
don't- they won't-
hometown product?
What's that?
I thought Whistler came into the organization.
Yeah, Whistler, I believe, came through a trade.
Is that what, Matt Whistler?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he
I
came
thought
through
you were
a
saying
trade.
he was a home
No,
grown.
no.
I didn't
Blair
think-
came through a trade.
Yeah.
And I just think that like I have to laugh. Carl Morton, we signed him. The Braves signed him years ago.
Charlie Morton.
Charlie Morton, rather.
Yeah, I
had him on my team.
Played with the Pirates.
We signed him.
Mediocre at
That's
best.
what the trouble is with pitchers. You never know. The light bulb might go on 10 years
I know,
down the
I
road,
know.
but you can't keep him for 10 years.
No, you can't.
Somebody will benefit from Blair and probably Whistler
down
in
the road.
8-9 years, but it won't be the Braves.
Well, look at Alex Wood. How many games in a row did he win this year?
Right.
Like 15 games?
He looked terrible all his career.
No, he had a good he had a good career with Atlanta for a while. He got hurt. He had
And
Tommy
he was
John.
never the same.
No. Then he went. We traded him to the Dodgers with somebody else for Hector Oliveira. There, the Cuban guy whose most famous thing he did was, domestically assault some lady in a hotel in Virginia when he was playing the Nats. And he never played in the major leagues again. And you might recall that Wood did nothing with the Dodgers early.
No,
Right.
They didn't have a place for him. Yeah. But the light bulb with
Snapped
pitchers,
on,
they're hard to give up on.
I think their success, I think, always hinges on control. You can get ahead of the hitters, and he did this year when he started to come on. Wood started to do that, and I think in his early career he was not doing that.
Well, he had I don't have the stats in front of me. He pitched well for Atlanta when he came up. He did.
At first.
Oh, yeah, at first.
Then he got
hurt.
He got hurt.
Fitzy, the secret of pitching, I remember Tom Seaver, they asked him, what's the secret behind pitching? Very short answer. Your first pitch, you throw a strike, and I guarantee you're going to be a successful pitcher.
Okay.
The other thing about Wood
Okay,
is,
you get behind.
Yep.
the other thing about Wood is, the Braves were scared of his delivery. It's a little awkward.
Well, I guess it is.
Awkward, you know.
You think you're going to
Subject
come uncoiled.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Kershaw, also. The real great pitchers, not like Kershaw. I'm talking about the great ones. Their mechanics were simple. They're repetitive and simple.
Nolan Ryan.
Tom Seaver, drop and drive pitcher.
Yeah.
Very simple. Greg Maddux. I mean,
Maddux,
his head
same
never
way.
moved. His head never
Never
moved.
moved.
Oh no, never moved. Warren Spahn. I mean,
Your
Warren
guys you're
Spahn.
talking about have a ERA at least a half run higher.
Who?
You're
Clint Kershaw.
so screwed up with ERA.
That is-
Big deal with ERA. I think you're screwed up. I want to know. It's like a goalie. I don't want to know how many saves he makes. I want to know which ones he makes. A pitcher with a great ERA. I want to know what he does in the
Fitzy,
clutch.
that is the mark of a great pitcher. Now that we're into it, and that Clayton
He
Kershaw.
certainly doesn't do it in the playoffs.
Clayton Kershaw, lifetime ERA. Now, let me just point out, as you pointed out 2 months ago,
Who did?
Leonard did. There were more home runs hit this season, and every year that record is being broken. More home runs hit this season. Of course, during the World Series, right in the middle of Game 5, they broke the record for the most home runs ever
Right.
in the World Series.
That's right.
But let me just throw this out at you, then I'll let you beat up on me after. Clayton Kershaw, lifetime, 10 seasons, lifetime ERA of 2.36. Now, I highlighted notable pitchers. Cy Young, 2.62. Whitey Ford, from, your era, 2.74. Sandy Koufax, who I'll get into later, 2.76. Jim Palmer, who we all like, 2.85. Tom Seaver, 2.86. Juan Marichal, 2.89. Bob Gibson, 2.91. Pedro Martinez, 2.92.
Randy Johnson.
I will have to find him. Warren Spahn, one of Leonard's all-time favorite players, 3.08. Gaylord Perry, 3.10. These are all contemporaries during our lifetime.
Yeah.
Roger Clemens, 3.12. Greg Maddux, 3.15. Okay, that's a 0.8, 3/4 of a run less. And I love Greg Maddux. He's top 10 all-time pitchers.
I'm sorry. Kershaw can't carry Greg Maddox's jockstrap.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, I totally disagree with you.
Okay,
I totally disagree with you.
Nolan Ryan.
We're talking 18. We're talking 18 Gold Gloves.
Oh, he was a great
We're
fielder.
talking 4 straight Cy Youngs. Greg Maddux. Only one other pitcher's done that, and you know who it is. It's the big unit, Randy Johnson. No one else has won 4
That's
straight
right.
Cy Young.
Okay, my last one here, Nolan Ryan, 3.19. Now, as
Can we
far-
beat up on you yet?
Yeah, give me one moment here, and then you will have the floor. Okay, Greg Maddux, 3 years in a row, won the Cy Young.
4 years in a row. I'm
No,
sorry.
no.
You're wrong.
No.
$100. I'll take it out and put it on the
No, I
table
don't
right
want
now.
to take your money.
$100.
Maddox won.
$100. $100.
Maddox won the Cy Young.
He won it 4 years in a row.
No, sir. 93, 94, 95, he won it. 96,
Disagree.
96 was Kevin Brown.
Disagree.
96,
Only 2 players have done it.
97, Pedro with the Montreal Expos.
I can't get it in
Then
here.
in 98, Maddox won it
Only
again.
2 pitchers in the history of baseball have won 4 consecutive Cy Young awards: Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux.
No. What about Sandy Koufax?
Didn't win 4 Cy Youngs in a row.
Sure. No, you're right. He
There's
won.
only 2
he won,
pitchers.
You're right. He won 5 in a row, Sandy. Wait, time out. Len,
I don't know where you're getting
wait,
these
wait. My mistake. I'm looking at ERA leaders. You got me on that.
Cy Young Awards, there's only been 2 pitchers to win 4 consecutive.
Yep.
Okay.
It's Greg Maddux, and it's the big unit, Randy
Okay.
Johnson.
Okay.
Randy
Now,
Johnson.
You go to the bank on that.
okay, now listen to this, Fitz. I'll let Len cool down. Clayton Kershaw, 4 years in a row, ERA king. 2011, 2.28. 2012, 2.53. 2013, 1.83. 2014, 1.77.
Well,
See,
what's he done? What's he done in the postseason?
All right, what has Ernie Banks done in the postseason?
Well, I'm just no.
Banks never
We're not,
had
I'm
the
talking
postseason.
pitchers. I'm talking pitchers, not
Right,
hitters.
but there are a lot of guys that never.
No. I'm talking pitchers. He's not one. If you give me 20 pitchers, or give me like that list you just gave me, he'd be one of the last ones I'd want starting for me in a 7th game.
You're saying Nolan Ryan is better than Clayton?
Absolutely. Oh my!
Come on!
In a 7th game of the World Series, you wouldn't take Nolan Ryan over Clayton Kershaw?
I would any day.
Okay, Nolan Ryan is known for his strikeouts.
You know, in this game, Nighthawk, seniority counts. This guy's got no seniority to be measuring against Maddox and these kids.
Meaning not enough years pitched?
Not enough years, not enough innings
Well,
pitched.
not enough success in the postseason.
That's right.
That's my point. He's a great regular season pitcher. The analogy is golf. I made that to you.
And this is exactly where their ERAs are from, is the regular season.
Right, but my point is, I want a guy who can win in the postseason. I want a guy. You read so many guys there that I would take in Game 7, like Pedro, Maddox, Smoltz is somebody I'd want in Game 7.
Okay. And I will concur with you that a lot of these big time, like Max Scherzer, I would love to pitch a Game 7.
Well, much over Kershaw.
He's a bulldog, and I will. grant you-
Verlander, I'd want in Game 7 over Kershaw.
And I will say that the black mark on Kershaw is his lack of success in the postseason.
Yeah, but see-
However, you cannot dismiss a lifetime ERA during this home run era.
He's a Hall of Famer.
2.36.
Who, Kershaw?
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
No, I don't.
I do. I do. Yeah,
What
I
are you
think-
talking about?
I think-
He may not be around tomorrow morning.
if
does
his
not have
career
the
ended
seniority.
now,
If
he wouldn't be. He wouldn't.
If you
He
kept telling
could
me.
be winning another Cy Young award
Let me,
here
let me
another
read
week.
you this just for a second.
Okay.
This is by Rinker. They're
Okay, let me say one thing, then I'll shut up. But one good point you did say against the modern day pitcher. They're only pitching 7 innings.
That's right.
They know they're only pitching 7 innings.
That's
Where
right.
back in the day with a Nolan Ryan or
I-
Warren
and I don't
Spahn,
hold that against them. That's fine.
Right. They pitched 9 innings and
That's
they
fine.
threw 130 pitches.
Rinker
Okay.
says that number one is Nolan Ryan.
Who's this from?
Rinker? That's a
Oh,
national.
Nolan Ryan, the best pitcher of all time.
Wait just a minute.
Let him finish.
Nolan Ryan. Second, Randy Johnson. Third, Greg Maddux. A lot of them here you didn't name. Koufax, Walter Johnson, Cy Young, Pedro Martinez, Bob Gibson, Christy Matheson, Seaver, Spahn, Steve Carlton, Satchel Paige,
He's getting
Roger Clemens, Grover Alexander, Mario Rivera, and Kershaw. Palmer's behind him, Marichau's behind him, Whiteyford's behind him, Glavin's behind him.
I don't disagree with what you just said at all. I think that's a good list.
Yep, I do too.
Yep.
And
I would put Rivera in there, a 1-inning pitcher. I mean, give me a break.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying Rivera at his craft probably was as good as there ever was.
As a 1-inning pitcher, I agree. But Len, too, another thing.
Yeah, but he only threw out one reliever.
Right.
He didn't. He only threw out one reliever.
They listed Dean, Dizzy Dean, John Schmaltz, Drysdale, Roy Halladay.
I'd put Schmaltz a lot higher than they put him.
Yeah, I would too.
Schmaltz has got the.
How about Catfish Hunter?
Catfish Hunter was a winner. He was a winner.
Schilling was a winner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Rolly Fingers was a winner.
The analogy is golf. I mean, how many majors have they won? That's how you judge a pro golfer, isn't it?
Absolutely.
the majors.
That's right, the majors.
And
But Len, you called last week. We talked about Sandy Koufax, and unfortunately, at my age, I only saw him pitch that I can remember, age 8, 1966.
That's not unfortunate.
But he was a mediocre pitcher. Started with the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Absolutely.
And I hate to be nice to you again, but to your point, sometimes late in their career, they find it. In 1962, he went 5 years in a row winning the ERA, 2.54, 1.88, 1.74, 2.04.
Few no-hitters.
And listen to this.
Right.
His last year he pitched, his elbow was shot. Now, if he was pitching today, I'm sure he would probably get a Tommy John and be fine. His last year he pitched 1.73. And
why he was bad early, he was a bonus baby back in the 50s. The rule was back then, if you were a bonus baby, you could not be sent to the minor leagues.
Absolutely.
He never played in the minor leagues. He had to develop in the major leagues. He wasn't good enough when he was brought up at first, so he was an also-ran, and he mopped up, he pitched in the bullpen, and finally he should have started in the minors. If he had started in the minors, his major league career would have started out much better than it did, but he never could play in the minors because that was the rule then, back in the 50s. If you were a bonus baby, they could not send you to the minor leagues.
Could not go to the minors.
And on the negative side on Kershaw, he's been hurt
I go to that delivery.
Yeah.
I go to that delivery of his.
And
that's why I say.
I don't even know if he's pitched 200 innings the last 3 years.
No, he
okay.
gets
180 or something, isn't it? 175, 180.
Yeah.
You don't go teach that delivery to anybody.
No.
Well, and one other
Kershaw's a
point.
great pitcher. He's been successful. You can't knock it.
Now, Stevens.
But like you say, he's been playing with a $280 million a year payroll team, too.
Now, the leading pitcher still active for ERA.
You're big on ERA, aren't you?
That is the mark of a pitcher. You can't say you can't go by the wins and losses. What if you played with the Florida or the Miami Marlins? You would end up losing.
Right.
You would never be a 500 pitcher.
Right.
But Chris Sale's got a 2.98 ERA. He active pitchers. Number 2, he was hurt this year. Madison Bumgarden.
But again, I'm talking about longevity.
And
now I'm with you with Kershaw against guys like that.
And Steven Strasburg, who people always go to me, he didn't have much of a career. He's injury riddled.
Coming around. Finally.
But he's got a 3.06 ERA, third best of an active zone.
Also, he's matured. I think even more than his injuries. He's matured. He was very immature when he came up. he let a lot of stuff bother him. a little bit.
Kershaw is hurt too much.
Last few years, yeah. But I want to get to another point, and again, you brought this up 2 months ago, and I had not given much thought. But I have said I have not enjoyed baseball as much because there are too many home runs hit. We're not seeing the way baseball by Abner Doubleday. To me,
Well, you're a National League fan.
No,
that's why.
the big sexy is home runs. For the casual fan, they like seeing home runs. Guys like me and maybe Leonard, who watch baseball every night, I'll tell you what's sexy. A pitcher or batter leads the game off with a walk. He steals second, gets bunted over to third, then he gets sent in home on a sac fly. We get 1 run, no hits. That to me is pure baseball. Leonard pointed out that 40% of runs scored in baseball today, Fitz, are via the home run.
Yep.
Now, back was it 30, 40 years ago, you said that percentage was only 15%. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay. Baseball is turning into Holton Park. It's softball.
But I think it's Madison Avenue again. I think they're doing it because...
Well, that's what the fans want.
That's what the fans want.
Do you want that, Leonard?
Do I want that? I like to see a well-pitched game like
Me
you.
too.
I don't mind seeing a couple blowouts.
But the problem, too, is who in the heck are these architects building these stadiums and getting the approval? Yankee Stadium, right field. Seriously, really. I mean, a lot of these new ballparks are a little...
Trust in Atlanta, the same thing. We're drafting pitching, and it's a bandbox.
Yeah, I know.
We're drafting pitching, and it's a bandbox.
Yeah.
But the problem with your theory, and I understand why you enjoy that kind of baseball, I do too, they don't teach it. They don't
But
teach
nobody can bunt anymore.
Nobody can bunt?
Yep.
They don't. You've got kids in the major leagues that don't know the proper count to run on.
Yeah.
They've never been taught.
And Fitz, another thing, thanks for that. They don't steal bases anymore
That's right.
because
That's right.
they don't want to. Why? Because I don't want to hurt myself.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
I've got a contract coming up in 2 years.
They're not taught the fundamentals. The high schools aren't teaching it. The Legion kids aren't getting it. The minor league system is not. Because when they get to the minor leagues, like Pawtucket and some of these places, then they feel they're beyond all that little school stuff here. They don't know how to move runners over.
If it wasn't for the Latins, Major League Baseball probably would be pretty well dead in another 30 years.
Absolutely.
It's the Latins that are keeping this thing going. I mean, you go watch a Little League game locally. You know, I caught a couple playoff games. And, you know, today, people's attention spans are pretty short. You know, kids, I mean, they're on their tablets, their cell phones. I mean, everything's got to be right off. And you watch a poor outfielder in a Little League, he's lost. I mean, he's hardly staying awake. Yeah. I mean, you might get 2 balls a game. That's not enough to keep it. When I played Little League, I was just so happy to be starting.
Yeah, same here.
But you know, it's the pitcher, the catcher, the first baseman. They seem to be awake.
Yeah,
But the poor outfielders, bloody die. And I can't blame them. It's the way it is today. It's just the way it is. And thank God for the Latin ball players. Because the African American ball players, their percentages don't move; they go down.
Len, hang on. Good evening. You're on Franklin County's #1 sports show, the best damn sports show in Franklin County. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Apologize if I didn't hear the beginning of the show, so I could be repeating something. Are you guys talking about the Giants?
We were. This is the other LJ, by the way, from Reading, Mass.
This is the good LJ.
Yeah, this is the other.
Hi, LJ, the Nighthawk here.
How's it going, Rick?
Good.
Yeah, we've gone over the Giants and
what little bit there is of them.
Right, you know, and I went through my spiel on Beckham being a cancer and you know, probably one of the most hated ball players I've ever seen come up in the NFL ever. Everybody tries to tackle him, tries to end his career, and he you could almost make a case that he indirectly is responsible for Tom Coughlin getting fired too, because you know, remember he kind of dove through the air head first and took a cheap shot at somebody, and Coughlin was asked how come he didn't pull him. Coughlin says, well, I didn't see the play. Well, Coughlin is a stickler for details. That doesn't sound plausible almost. And, you know, our point was basically, I sent you the article, you know what it is, about, you know, the things that are liabilities with with him and the way the team has treated him versus other players, and But anyway,
LJ, let me ask you a question. Your father tells me you do like Odell Beckham. Do you think this is a generational thing, where your generation is kind of used to this hip hop kind of player, where your dad and me, we like more of the professional, traditional type player? Because Beckham, I don't care if he gets 120 catches a year. I don't want him on my team.
It's partially generational. I would say. I mean, I'm not claiming he's a great teammate or a class act, or he's certainly not all about the team by any means. I don't claim that. I would say, which I know sounds like you both disagree with, he's pretty much irreplaceable, though. Whoever you bring in to replace him, they're not going to be as good. I mean, they're not even going to be close to as talented unless you get very lucky.
Does that count all the drop passes in the clutch?
Yeah. Well, there hasn't been that many clutch situations. But for a guy who's only been in the league, how many years? It's his third year.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, LJ. Next year, we have him at $6.5 million. So, what year is this, 27? So, the year 2019, he's already said he expects to be the highest paid receiver in football. And he is a top 3 receiver. I put him up there with Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. But
if he can stay healthy.
Do you want the Giants, out of our salary cap, to give $20 million to one player, or spread the wealth around, knowing that we're going to have to rebuild that offensive line? I just don't think it's money wisely spent to give $20 million per season for just one guy.
To somebody, every player is trying to end his career on every tackle.
He's not well liked. I agree with you completely. Part of that is because of he's so talented. Is part of that. That's not the whole thing.
But it's his arrogance, and the Giants were reiterating stuff we've already talked about, but you're new to it here. Real quick, the other point I want to try to make is the Giants' season started to go south when Odell took the receivers down to Miami on the boat before the playoff game. That's when it all ended, really, for the Giants. I mean, you can't even make an excuse for that. No. I mean, that it all went downhill right from there. And there's a double standard. I mean, there's a double standard. He gets treated one way by management, and the average Joe doesn't. Landon Collins was going to be a candidate for the best defensive player in the NFL this year. The man has quit. He's not even trying. I think Odell Beckham is one of the big reasons why the Giants are as bad as they are, because it's a double standard. A lot of the players think he gets treated differently than, say, Rogers, Cromartie, and Jackrabbit. Yeah. I mean, what they did, and they get suspended, and what this jerk has pulled off. I don't know. It's just,
That's right.
That's the way I feel.
I can tell you guys aren't big Odell fans. Again, I'm not saying he's a class act, anything like that. Just if you do re-sign him, you at least know you're getting a top-notch talent, whereas if you don't re-sign him and you go elsewhere, right, you're gambling more.
Maybe he might play a game or two for you a year. Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to hurt him.
So LJ,
yep.
What do you think of Evan Ingram?
He looks pretty good. Maybe one of the few bright spots, I guess, on the team all year.
Yeah, this guy is a stud.
Ingram's a good.
I was saying earlier in the show, by this time next year, when somebody asks you who's the best tight end in football, it's going to be Ingram.
I hope that's true. He does look good. I would agree. He's a rare bright spot on the team, really, so far.
Different class, I understand, but I'd rather have him on my football team than this other dingbat we've been talking about.
So another heated discussion we've had all night. Hawk, I'm just trying to get a handle here.
It's 10 after.
I'm sitting next to a big Clayton Kershaw fan. That's the Nighthawk here, and I say,
yep.
And Fitzy feels the same way. The guy doesn't get it done in the clutch. Got a great ERA, but I mean, if I want to give the ball to somebody in the 7th game, he's not even on my list. I don't care if my list is 30 long; he wouldn't even be on it.
He raised his stock a little bit this time around. I think in the playoffs, even in the game they lost, Game 7, he pitched in relief pretty strongly.
Yeah.
But no, he's not. I mean, that's the only thing you can take away from him. He hasn't been a
blemish.
playoff performer.
Yeah.
That is, that's the only thing, the only negative that comes to mind, which is a big one. He's still the best starting pitcher in probably the last 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
certainly the Nighthawk agrees with you. I'm not in agreement with that, but
I'm not either.
Fitzy isn't either.
Who's
so.
been better than Kershaw in the regular season the last 10 years?
You want me to call him off here? Again?
No, the last 10 years.
Yeah. Some of these, I'll name just the ones that pitched in the last 10 years.
Okay, go ahead.
Maddox?
He's been retired for 15 years.
No, he hasn't.
No,
Greg Maddux?
No.
15 years.
You're talking about his brother. Randy Johnson? Pedro?
he's in.
Pedro hasn't been away. Pedro's been
Pedro
out of the game.
Martinez?
Okay.
We got a lot of stats here, but anyway.
And just a little before that, the Gibsons and those guys.
Yeah, well, Gibson's been out of the game quite a while, but no. I'll give the Nighthawk. There's no question. Regular season, last how many years? He has been one of the top regular season pitchers. I'll grant you that. But like we said with golfers, they judge you by majors. How many majors does he won? You know, he spits the bit in the big game. He had a 4-0 lead. He had a 7-4 lead in one game. Couldn't hold it.
Randy Johnson's lifetime ERA.
Oh, here
and
we
again, Clayton Kershaw, 2.36. Randy Johnson, 3.29. That is a full run difference.
You think Randy Johnson is not the pitcher that Clayton Kershaw?
Oh, absolutely right.
Oh my God!
You're taking snapshots of Randy Johnson's career.
But you're taking snapshots of Kershaw.
Kershaw's done it every year.
What do you think? LJ? What do you think?
Everyone that's been named is a tremendous pitcher. I would put Kershaw up there with the guys that you've named. Randy Johnson and Maddox are both. Everyone you name's in the Hall of Fame. Kershaw will be a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt.
If he continues, if his season were to end tomorrow,
Longevity is going to count.
Not sure.
Yeah.
You got to.
I think even if his career ended now, he might get. He's been the best pitcher for close to 10 years.
Wins
I think
and losses,
without a doubt.
wins were a big deal.
Yeah.
Wins are actually bigger
right.
than ERA.
You know, aside from his postseason, another blemish we talked about it earlier, LJ, was last few years he hasn't been pitching full seasons. He's got a real bad back. A really bad back.
Yeah. And that
delivery.
That delivery is what really scares me about him longevity-wise, because that herky-jerky motion, kind of leads to injury.
But he's been a good pitcher. But you don't deny that.
No. I just don't. He's not a great postseason pitcher. He hasn't done it. He's had chances. He hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Just hasn't done it. And as I said, Maddox and Randy Johnson are the only two pitchers to do what, LJ?
The only two pitchers to they've won Cy Youngs with multiple teams.
They've won 4 consecutive Cy Young awards. Only 2 pitchers in the history of baseball have done that. Greg Maddux and Randy Johnson.
Those are 2 of the best, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The best big game pitchers that I've ever seen, I would say, are might be Smoltz and
great big game pitcher.
Schilling, who I don't really like that much. He was a tremendous pitcher in the playoffs, and Jack Morris, who should be in the Hall of Fame and is not.
I agree.
Jack Morris has a lifetime ERA of exactly 3.90. If you check his career, the last 5 years he pitched like a number 6 starter.
Bulldog pitcher.
He, at a certain
He was
point,
a big game pitcher.
For a
That's
snapshot during the 80s, there wasn't many good American League pitchers back then. He was the number 1 pitcher. But Jack Morris will never get in.
No. His body of work certainly won't get him in. Of course, his most famous game is that 1-0 win over the Braves.
Yeah, that's right.
He also led the Tigers. He was the ace for the Detroit Tigers in the mid-'80s. Took them all the way, and with Toronto.
I think the Tigers beat the Padres 1984.
That's right.
I think
That's right.
Didn't the Tigers open the season like 23-2?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes, they did.
Hall of Famers like long bodies of work. Certainly someone who is a Hall of Famer, but his career ended too quickly. I mean, he's much better skills-wise than a lot of people that are in the Hall of Fame is Andrew Jones. Man's got 10 straight gold gloves.
Absolutely.
And he could hit. I mean, he hits 2 home runs as a rookie in his first World Series
Let me
game.
say this.
right.
Andrew Jones, when he started out, I said, and I quote, by the time his career is over, he will be in the top 10 all-time great outfielders. This guy possessed so much skill. The problem with him is one bigger weapon than his bat was his fork. The guy ate himself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. Oh,
He
yeah.
was fat. There was not a better center fielder, and this guy had a belly about as big as mine. He had the best first step I have ever seen in my life.
He was quick.
And, and the instincts he had.
He had
This
the
guy could have been one of the all-time greats.
Somebody just
No question.
There was just I saw something on TV yesterday, ESPN. Some pundits, the best outfield of all time in the National League. They moved Andrew to left field and kept Mays in center.
Yeah.
And
Andrew Jones isn't one of the all-time great.
You're talking just
they put him
defensively.
all time.
All time?
Oh,
with
yeah.
his batting and
his
stuff?
batting was outstanding.
But
When he was
for a short, very brief time.
about 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if he could have done this for another 4 or 5
He
years.
could have and should have.
Another one is Dale Murphy. If he could have done it for another 5, 6 years.
Not a Hall of Famer, 379 home runs.
No, you weren't listening to me. I said if he could have continued
Right.
that for another
But if
5,
the
6
rabbit
years.
didn't stop to
Well,
poop,
no,
the fox
I'm
never
saying-
would have caught him.
I know. I know.
If.
I'm just saying, they have Hall of Fame ability, but you got to have longevity.
I will say, boy, I'm glad you brought him up. Andrew Jones, to me, is one of the biggest disappointments of my baseball. This guy had more talent from Curacao, is where he's from.
That's right.
Yep.
But one of the
He should have been around when Pumpsy Green played.
That's I
First
remember
black
Pumpsy.
player
I
on the
remember
Boston
Pumpsy.
Red Sox.
That's right.
Yep.
But Andrew Jones is as good a defensive outfielder
yep.
I've ever seen.
Yep.
Oh, no question about it.
Never.
Okay, thank you so much, LJ.
LJ, before
one more.
Okay, one
One
more.
more quick thing on Dale Murphy. He did something that has been done before, but not many times. And I don't know if there's ever been a Hall of Famer who or someone who's done it is not in the Hall of Fame. Back-to-back MVPs for Murphy.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately for Murphy, it was just him and nobody else on that Braves team.
No. Murphy.
Yeah, I know. They were terrible.
The cool
for
thing
sure.
about Murphy, when WTBS came aboard around 80, 81, we used to get one baseball game a week on NBC. Well, oh my God, I died and went to heaven. I got baseball every night of the week, and everybody, the Atlanta Braves became everybody's second favorite ball club.
Absolutely.
Because you watch them. Unfortunately, in the beginning, guys like Ramirez at short, Glenn Hubbard at second, they didn't have a good ball club, but it was really neat to watch them every night. I know LJ was a huge Braves fan.
LJ, before you go, the thing I'm going to take away from this show tonight, more than anything, is that I believe you were called a hip hopper. And I think you'd be the first to admit that it would have been tough living under my roof as a hip hopper.
I don't think anyone's ever accused me of being a hip hop or whatever that even is. I don't know.
Well, I think it would have been tough under the roof.
Yeah.
I don't question that. But I don't think there was any of those under your roof, whatever that is.
Hey, LJ, get off the phone and go listen to some Jay-Z.
That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks for calling,
Thank you.
LJ.
See ya.
Bye.
Leonard, I will say this. I, again, don't agree with you on a lot of things, but you and Diane did a heck of a job raising that kid.
Yes,
One
I
of the finest, a real gentleman.
Great young man.
Yeah. And so funny about him, Leonard is kind of he is so quiet, more like his mother, but smart kid, good
I thought
kid.
he's a lot like Leonard.
No, my daughter's more like me. He's more like his mother.
Yeah, he's more like his mother.
Right.
Good kid.
Anyway, but you see, this is what adds spice to the soup. You can't. Not everybody can agree. You got to disagree. That's what makes it interesting.
Right. I'm not playing for show. I just tell it like a.
Right.
Now, I got to admit, I was a little disgruntled today. I get an email from UVM. UVM, like every other college in this country, ultra liberal. So, Leonard, you did time in Vietnam. Fitzy, did any military career?
Yeah, but not wars. And,
But you did serve in the
Marine
military.
Corps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Marines. As for myself, I did no heavy lifting, no dirty work, none in the military. I respect folks that have done the time.
Well, I didn't do hard work in Vietnam.
No, but you could
I
have
was on a secure Air Force
right.
base.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Jeff Schumann, Director of Athletics, UVM. To UVM season ticket holders and Victory Club members, I'm writing to share some thoughts with you about what occurred prior to our men's exhibition basketball game on Saturday night versus St. Michael's College. For those of you who weren't aware, a group of St. Michael's players and coaches knelt silently during the national anthem. They were met with negative comments from some of the spectators in attendance that in a few cases crossed a line into reactions that were seen as harassing. I realize that there are varying perspectives on the issue of kneeling during the anthem, and I respect the differing opinions that exist. However, I want to emphasize that the university and athletic department are committed to ensuring that our student athlete, coaches, and visiting teams, fans are able to participate and experience our games in an environment that is free from threats, intimidation, and or harassment. So now, if the Nighthawk was the athletic director, here's what I would say. Next time St. Michael's College comes to the game, I'm going to give a free bag with 6 bricks in them. When these players take a knee during our national anthem, you take these bricks, throw them right between their eyes. How dare these bastards take a knee during the anthem like this? That just irritates me. We had a caller earlier tonight saying he's given up football completely because of the knee.
That's right.
I know a plethora of people that still feel the same way. They're sport fans, but they're Americans first. And for me to get a letter like this, how
You got
dare
to concentrate against some hockey players and put the biscuit in the basket. They haven't had one in 10 years.
No, this was St. Mike's exhibition
Yeah, I know,
game.
I understand
I knew
that.
not, but I can tell you one thing. If I was there, I would have stood. Well, I would be standing during the anthem. I would be screaming at these players, "You
So would
ungrateful
I.
bastards! Get off your knee! You're on a free ride at St. Michael's. You know, you really have a rough life." Oh, that knee! How does he have the audacity to send me a letter like this? It drives me nuts.
Wow, he's
Ungrateful.
it's
I-
typical.
My take on all this is we live in a country where they have the right to do it.
And I have a right to holler at them.
I totally agree with you. On my point, let me finish. They have a right to do what they do. I disagree with it totally. I think it's totally inappropriate.
Me
And
too.
I think that too many people who demonstrate today for one thing or another, they don't accomplish anything. It's all tokenism. Why don't you do something that really helps out? I mean, this accomplishes nothing. I mean, look what it does. It's just a greater divide for the country. And you know, and it's hurt their sport that they're making such a great living at.
And not one of them will take $1 million of their 20 and go into the areas in the big cities that are
Fitzy.
causing them some problems in the future.
Not
Don't
many.
spend $1 million in Detroit on the kids that have no chance whatsoever.
NFL ratings have been bellowing out for the last number of weeks, down 18.7% in the last 2 years.
That's right.
52%, including myself, are watching less football. I've given up all football except for the Giants. I watch the Giant game. That's it until they.
I watch the Vikings when they're on.
I mean, wait till this weekend. Well, you won't see it because the networks now will not show the national anthem because they know it's hurting the ratings. The only guy is, and I don't remember the head of Papa John's.
Right, the owner. I don't know his name.
He's famous, and he has hollered
Right.
But Roger Goodell, how he's mismanaged this whole thing. And listen, if I had a contract and find out that I've got 18.7% less people watching my commercials, I'm going to be upset.
But the Papa John's story goes further. The man, really, the owner of Papa John's, what do we got, a minute or two here? The owner.
We got 5 minutes.
My recollection is the owner of Papa John's really came out strongly against what the players are doing. And the white supremacists came out and really were his fans. We're going to buy your pizza. The KKK's pizza is Papa John's. Well, guess who got hurt? It's Papa John's. Because you got to be careful today. That's what happens. Everything is toxic. And you know, and nothing's more toxic, obviously, than our president. Talk about toxicity. There's toxic.
Well, I thought he was quite calm.
If you align yourself with him in any way, your bottom line in all likelihood is going to hurt business-wise.
Leonard, can
including
I ask you,
his.
Leonard, was this appropriate to send from the AD? I mean, how many people did he offend?
It's a liberal arts college, and he's playing to his faculty.
Leonard, thank you.
He's playing to his administration. And,
thank you. I didn't think things out. You're right. He didn't come up with it. He was ordered. He was ordered to write this letter.
Well,
and I bet somebody wrote this letter, and he just has to sign his name to it.
I don't know the total specifics.
He's green. He hasn't been around long enough. This guy.
But again,
playing tiddlywinks at him.
He's playing to the people there who pay his salary, and you know, and most of the students at these schools would say they have the right to do it. You know how it is.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
You know, and they have the right to do it. I think it's inappropriate, and I think it is accomplishing nothing. It's going to come back to shoot them right in the butt.
So Leonard, what would
100%.
What would you think of me though if we were at a basketball game and they did take a knee and I started hollering during the anthem?
We'd see you in jail.
You probably would get arrested. It's nothing I would do. That's not my personality. I would not strike out like that.
Yeah.
I would watch it, and I'm a journalist, and I'm neutral. I try to stay, even though I have strong opinions, being an old journalist, I'm still neutral.
Yeah.
I don't like to even clap sometimes because I don't want to be for one team or the other. I just want to be neutral. That's the old journalist in me. And but I'm not a rabid fan that would just call somebody a name because he knelt. But I certainly would exercise my right maybe not to watch the game. And I think it's useless. I think it's,
And again, I mentioned earlier in the show, Military Service Day at MetLife before the football. You know, I'm an overly emotional guy, but it was a very moving, maybe 20-minute ceremony that they did. Then they brought the field length flag out and waving it and stuff.
Nice.
It's like, oh, boy, it's kind of nice to be an American.
Now, on another subject, perhaps we could lend your talent to the City Council and Mayor of the Republic of Burlington, so they would learn. They're having a hell of a time picking a buyer for that.
I wish we had more time. You got somebody with $30 million going to give you a check.
Yeah, and they're so stupid.
You got a group of locals who don't want to give up local control. Well, we got 14, and it's all comprised of pretty much of junk bombs.
Yeah.
That's
the Republic of Burlington.
People's Republic of Burlington.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was $32 million from a company out of Toronto.
Citibank going to tear these guys to pieces.
They're a sound company.
Yeah,
they're going to tear them to pieces.
Yeah. And I watched the news, and I don't get it.
Citibank is going to sue.
Yes.
Well, of course they are. It's a joke. I never saw a group of people elected by the people to make a decision.
Well, it's Burlington, though. That's Burlington.
But you know what? It's simply, you have Vermont, then you have the city of Burlington.
Yeah.
I mean, we are so different than what Burlington is.
It's like saying you're going to...
Like this guy right here. He lives there.
Yeah, you need heart surgery.
Yeah.
We got this specialist. We can fly in from Toronto. Oh God, no. We got some. Maybe not as good. But we've got some right here that can do it.
Yes.
Let them do the surgery. Want local control?
Yes, and not only that, that head man worked on Zenith at one time.
Oh my God! I'm glad you brought that up. That's
so
one of the
stupid.
biggest jokes in Burlington.
It's stupid.
Right. The last 2 minutes of the show, we'll talk. That $17 million. 1 minute left. That Bob Kiss took out of the general fund,
Bob
whatever,
was good.
and gave it to Burlington Telecom. Will the taxpayers ever get that $17 million?
I don't know. I'm not
know either.
up on it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just laugh at the city council.
Yeah. It is.
wringing their hands.
One decided to recuse herself because she worked for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she actually quit her job.
Yeah,
So
in
she
the
could vote.
end.
So
I think.
that-
I think the thing is, whoever does run it, they got to be able to smoke marijuana.
Yeah. So okay, that's it.
Yeah.
That will conclude this edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. For Miss Joanne, Fitzy, Leonard, I am the
fun.
Nighthawk, and until next week, everyone, remember, you don't have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.